All right. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out. This is the Georgia Shooting Connection. We have a Mooser with us, as well as Georgia Boy 44, JH 586, and Kyle Lusk. So we got North and the South represented in Georgia. Guys, go ahead and get this thing started.
Scotsman's already out there.
Yes, he is.
Hey, Scotsman.
And he is first. And he was proud of the fact that he was first.
Hey,
Oh, Kenny, Josh Benware. Terrific. Well, a little bit later tonight, I'm not going to do it right away, but here, whenever we find a good time, I'm going to do that drawing for the inline fabrication T-shirts and stuff. Right?
Yeah, I need a new shirt, Nathan.
I've got a yes, sir. I've got a list on Excel, and there's 17 people that commented to the video. So I've got 1 through 17, and then I'll do a random number generation 1 through 17, and pick the 4. Now I know that I'm going to end up doubling up. Like everybody's going to want an Excel or whatever. So when we run into that situation, we'll basically do a rundown to see who gets what, or we'll figure something out. What's everybody been up to this week?
4th of July, out shooting. Kyle and I had an interesting experience Wednesday morning, but we can't tell you about it.
Oh, we can tell you about it, but I'm going to make you do it.
We have a friend whose dad bought back let's say a pistol caliber carbine from the Korean War. And another friend of mine, Frog, who I go to church with and I'm in CMA with, I hope he joins us tonight, but he's been working on this thing for about 1.5 years. He finally got it shootable Wednesday, and it was big time fun. Shoots the same. What is that? A Tokarev, Kyle? The TT thing?
Man, I asked you 3 times what it was. I still can't remember.
It shoots 7.62 by 25.
Do you have a picture?
Yes, I do, but it's not on my computer. It's on my phone.
Okay. This gun is amazingly gorgeous now. They've nickel-plated everything that used to be blued, gone back through the wood. This gun is gun-safe jewelry at this point, and it is gorgeous. Frog did an excellent job, and you can't hardly tell the dang thing's 80 years old.
This is Eagle Eye Shooting's got himself a new Smith & Wesson. Congratulations, brother. It is depending on what you got, they're all great. So
I can't type in the comments in the chat. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Sorry, I haven't even tried. I've been watching it. I haven't been getting into it. No, it looks like I can.
I'm working on it so far. I ain't been able to get it.
Hey, Scotsman. Scotsman, I got you covered, brother. Just give me a minute. I got to cast some more, okay?
Looks like I posted that video the other day about some 32 stuff that the Emperor over at PC Bullet Empire sent me. And so I've been working on that this week a little bit. I sent off my cylinder. I heard back already from the gentleman I sent it to that it's done and it's coming back to me. So I don't know if he worked on it the 4th of July weekend. If he did, you worked too hard. Unless that's just your way of blowing off steam or whatever. I get that. But I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to getting that back. I've also got a few parts from NOE coming to like a size and die, stuff like that. And hopefully we're going to get a video up here soon. The first process I've been casting whenever I had a chance. So trying to get about 300 of all my bullets. And I think I'm up to 5 different bullets that I'm going to be trying with that. So I'm really looking forward to that series, and I'm looking forward to finishing up the reloading room here. So that's what I've been working on. No, I didn't see Uncle Jim's video this morning. Man, I'll tell you what, it's funny. You know, everybody was talking, was it last week, the week before, about, you know, posting more videos. And I don't want to say I thought it was like going to fall on deaf ears, but I just did not expect this week. Like, it seems like there's been a billion videos. I feel like I'm a month behind on videos. So I hadn't got a chance to look at Uncle Jim's video, but I'll look at it when I get it.
Yep.
Playing on Rob.
I've been a day behind and been going as hard as I can, but you know, every now and then I got to take a shower and go to work, which is good. I mean,
So I got doing this video that I'm working on now. That'd be 3 in a week. That's the most I've ever put out.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's been putting out a lot of videos lately. I'm really happy for them, and that's terrific. It's just it makes me feel behind because I'm used to watching like everyone's videos to do the weekly recaps, which I missed this week because of 4th of July stuff. So,
well, I think everybody's missed something this week because the 4th of July took up. Let's face it took up a lot more time than just the 4th of July for everybody. Everybody had to make plans, make arrangements, and do all the traveling that they needed to do and everything. So this it's kind of a light week, you know.
Yeah, I generally try to do too.
I got to mow my grass first thing in the morning. I was going to do it when I got home, but it was raining. So
I generally try to put out 2 a week, and if I've got more videos than that done, I'll save them and schedule them for later. But being 4th of July week, I wasn't going to put out, you know, a second video to try to just to throw something out. You know, with everything else everybody else has got going on, I know everybody's busy and whatnot. I know I'm busy 4th of July, so you know, I just assume a lot of other people are as well. So gun people tend to like America, and America, you know, we like fireworks. So
Willie just threw up a video, so we know he's active.
Loads of bacon's in the chat. Thanks for coming out, brother. I hope everything's going well your way and you had a good 4th of July. Oh, and wait a minute, Kenny, he's not. So this is your first 4th of July in Freeland. So congratulations on that. I hope you got to enjoy it. I think all you get is snakes and sparklers out there in California, but I'm not sure in Arizona or New Mexico or whatever. Man, I have no idea what's going on.
No, hell, Arizona, you can walk around with a damn cannon on your hip. Nobody say anything to you.
He's with that big iron on his hip.
That's it.
So what are you cleaning on, Rob?
I've got 2 I got to clean this week. When father-in-law was over, I think Tuesday after I mowed grass, or Monday after I cut grass, I ran out and fired 30 rounds out of the PPQ. And then I probably put about 150 rounds through the P10C here on 4th of July. Father-in-law were out there shooting. Father-in-law were out there shooting. I gave him my Glock 19 Gen 4 since I've got the Gen 5, and so we were just, you know, out there plinking and whatnot. So I just set him here on the table, and I figured I'd sit here and clean him while we were doing chat this week.
Fair enough. Eagle Eye asked about the can challenge, the rifle can challenge that I've been threatening to do with my Swiss. I was planning on doing it today, man, but I had another woodworking project that got out of hand. And it took up too much time and ended up not getting done. And then I ended up rushing to get this and getting food in my gut. So I didn't end up getting out there. And I know we're going to go shooting tomorrow, right? That's the plan. Now I don't know if I'm going to do this or not. It depends on how everything lines up and what's going to be available and how the range looks. Because I want to try to shoot it, not just shoot it, but film it. So if I can't film, then I won't shoot it. If I can, then I will. So I'm going to take everything to do it. So hopefully we'll get it done this weekend. Really, hopefully, because I have nothing else to put up. I think this Monday. I think I got pieces of like 5 different projects, but no actual real video ready for this week. So I'm hoping to get this done. That'll count.
Hey, Kenny, got something for you. I know you're reading it in the comments. I'm taking the last half of next week off. And that baby right there is going to put the hole in the O in a Coors Light can, 250 meters.
Why are you doing it in meters? We're not German. Well,
That's what I'm used to measuring in, sir.
yeah, but yards is actually how far you walk. That's the way a human measures things.
Okay. My scopes in mils, my turrets are in mils, because that's what I'm used to shooting as long as I'm shooting long range. It's all mils. And if that
Nathan,
one doesn't do it, I got that one.
Nathan, I told you he's from the Yankee part of the state up there. You can't expect anything better out of him.
You know where you can go. And
Josh.
the funny thing I've been saying to Tim every time he shows up is all hail, but I spell it like the stuff that falls from the sky. Just because here in Georgia it sounds like all hail the emperor. All hail the emperor. I'm sorry.
So Georgia boy, what you been up to this week?
A little trip out of town, celebrating the 4th with family, dodging the rain. Did a little reloading today, this morning. I think that's about it this week. Got my light, my shelf, my bench light put up yesterday. You know, normal stuff. Painted the wife's kitchen and living room.
I saw that light of yours. That's almost exactly the same as the one that I got, except for mine's only. I just got mine off Amazon, but mine's only on or off. It doesn't have the dimming settings. But how are you liking it?
So far, it's good. If I turned it on now, it would just blind the camera, it dim the camera out. It's back here behind me. I got another light on it, but having the dimmer, because to be honest, I run it on the lowest setting, so that comes in handy. It's got like 1,500 lumens, 3,000 or 5,000, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, I've got mine mounted. I think Nathan and I were talking about this last week off air, but I've got mine mounted probably 6-8 inches off the ceiling directly above my workbench here. So, and I don't have shelves that come out, and even if it did, it'd be just past it. But I like it. I like it quite a bit. I think they're great.
Yeah, if I could have mounted mine higher up, it would have been better. It would have given the light more time to disperse.
Yeah.
But since I wanted to put it on the bottom of this shelf, I got it maybe 30, 34 inches above the bench. So that's why I have to run it on the low setting most of the time.
Yeah, I mounted mine with just regular, lamp chains or whatever light chains, whatever you want to call them, and U-hooks, or I don't know. I call them U-hooks.
I just put it up as close to the bottom of the shelf as I could, so that helps out, because this is kind of a dark area here, but getting that light, man, it's great. So that's been about my week, I guess.
Did you get to go to the mountains again? Because that was just beautiful last video. I really enjoyed that.
No, I didn't get to go to the mountains south side of Atlanta. That's where I went, Douglasville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I went that way, but that's a good spot up there in the mountains, man. Blairsville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good spot.
I spend a fair amount of time up in Blairsville, and I usually stay in Helen. I work with, there's a school that has one in Blairsville, one in Currahee, and one over in Clarksville. And I work with all three of those campuses, so I'll stay in Helen because it's kind of right in between it. I love it up there.
Yeah, I grew up going there because it's close to where I live. Yes, 45 minutes I can be in Helen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I fished all those trout streams up there. Of course, you can't fish there now for the tubes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here it's hot.
Kyle, you already took care of Scotsman there. I see you had a question about the leak in the turret press.
Yeah, I think I was going to get y'all's input on it. The way I fixed mine is just loosening the bolts on the top and loading the case, running it into a nice tight sizing die, and having it recenter on that, and then it was great.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea. So that's kind of more your field. I haven't messed with one, so.
Mine was just a little bit off. When I started loading 44 Magnum, I'd have to cock it just a little bit as I was pulling the handle down. And I finally got tired of doing that and said, I'm just going to loosen the bolts. And whoop, it was beautiful. So.
Yeah. So what else is going on here? 1/8 of an inch? That's a little bit more than just a little bit. Good grief, Scotsman. That's way off.
Well, it probably got knocked around in shipping or transporting or moving from room to room or dropped or something like that. And it's really not that bad because those holes are slotted for movement. And if it lands the right way, it'll knock that head a little bit. So.
Preacher's day off. Glad to see you, brother. I haven't seen you in here in a while, so maybe it's just been my eyes. But glad you're here. Willie Bullet Man's here. I appreciate that. William C. Chapin's coming to join us. The Emperor's here. Oh, who else here? We're talking about Scotsman. Josh Benware come in to see us. Loads of bacon. And I know I'm missing somebody here. Who am I missing? And Eagle Eye Shooting. So, guys, I appreciate you coming in here. We got 14 viewers. So, 2 weeks off. You lucky dog. I don't know if it was off. Wait a minute. It says 2 weeks you were out of town. That could be work, too. MCK's here. I didn't see it. Oh, yep, there we are. So, MCK, thanks for coming in.
Actually, Curtis had a pretty good idea, too. Just tweak the indexing rod a little bit with an open-end wrench, but I hadn't tried that.
What is it that's out of kilter on Scotsman's press?
I would assume that his head is sitting here. His head is sitting here and needs to be sitting there.
Phrasing and the use of head twice.
Yeah.
So the out of time.
Yeah, it's just a little bit out of time.
Yeah, you can. That's an indexing rod issue. Mine did it as soon as I got it. It's basically from short stroking the the rod down and not do a complete down and up. And
that would make sense. Bind it up a little bit.
Yep. And if you will take it off and put a wrench on the bottom down here of the turret and turn it, there's a way to time it. I think there's actually a video on YouTube about timing a turret press.
Well, mine was doing it, and I've never even used the indexing rod. I've been watching a lot of videos. I'm like, hey, it looks like it works pretty good, but I've never even used it because I've always run low amount ammunition on that press. It's stuff that I wanted to make just right, and I was just loading test loads and stuff like that. So I've never even used the indexing rod.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly how I did it, but I know you didn't have to loosen the bolts. That wasn't part of the fix.
Okay. Well, that's the way I fixed mine, and it works great now. So.
Oh wow. Yeah,
it's
mine.
just
I put
a little bit off.
I did something I can't remember, but there's a video on it. It's an easy fix.
So I got kind of a silly, definitely change the subject kind of question here. I've got this triple K holster that was gifted to me for my 32 mag. It's a really nice holster. But this thing is hard as a brickbat. Are they supposed to be like that? I mean, because I don't have much experience at all with these kind of like Western holsters and stuff. But this thing is just rock hard. Like, I don't know how this doesn't scratch the finish of the gun. It's so hard.
Is it Kydex or what is it made out of?
No, it's leather. It's leather. It's just, I mean, rock hard. I mean, I've ran into the plastic holsters that were this hard. So I'm wondering if you're just supposed to keep slathering this stuff with, some kind of conditioning, or is it just that's just the way it's supposed to be? I have no idea.
I use baseball glove oil on my leather holster.
That's what I was going to say. Just coat the inside with a good baseball glove conditioner. Stick your rifle in there and sit on a picnic table.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of different types of baseball glove conditioner because there's a couple that I like for certain things. I got I get real specific with, but anyway, yeah, okay. So just basically go up to condition it until it softens up some. Fair
Pretty
enough.
Much. Like a baseball gloves, what I did with the first several that I had, and it worked out great. Doesn't harm the finish on your firearm, and you just lay it out in the sun. That's all you gotta do.
Nathan, I got this stuff from Walmart. It's California something. It's made for, it's a leather conditioner rejuvenator. And if that holster's got any age on it, you may need to you just rub it in real good, get some on there. And I use it on my saddlebags on my Harley. You can get that stuff in there and then use your hands and just rub it with your hands in there real good, because your hands have got a certain amount of heat. And it just then let it sit on there for about an hour or so, and then just buff it off. It's I can't remember the name of it, but it's in a black bottle. It's about yo tall, a squeeze type bottle, like California Hot Rod or something like that. But it's not expensive. I think it's like $8 or $10 for the bottle, and it makes my saddlebags shine like they were brand new. And you get caught in the rain on your Harley, and you need something that makes that leather look presentable again.
That's what this feels like. It feels like saddlebag leather, or real like thick leather that's gotten wet and then dried. It's that hard, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's brand new. And I read what Scotsman said. I think that's maybe what I'll try is I'll wrap the gun in some Saran wrap or something, and I'll douse this thing with some kind of good conditioner or oil or whatever that's right, and just put some heat to it, maybe kind of let it sit. But I appreciate the feedback on it, because I want to try to get a whole rig together for this thing, because I haven't. It's funny how when you finally fix something, I have a tendency to not want to do those kinds of things. I like to look at it forever first. So it's nice to finally get this thing fixed, and once I get that cylinder back, I'm gonna be in hog heaven. No heat. Okay, fair enough.
All right, MCK, what are you shooting it out of? Okay, you got everything you need. I got the mold right here. I just want to know what you're shooting it out of. Make sure it's going to be big enough. This is actually a 309 mold, but it drops about 311.
That's a pretty big split.
Powder coating? If you're powder coating, it'll be fine, because I ended up having to actually put a real thin coating on them. I can't remember what they measured. Tim, what did they measure? The ones I sent to you, they were like 312, I think.
I've got something fun in this box here for y'all. I know almost all of you guys are revolver guys. This came from my wife's grandfather, who had passed away quite a few years ago, but they had gone up there cleaning out some stuff and found something of his that her dad left with me that I'm gonna clean up and restore and put away. But this is a British Bulldog. But it is a, what is it? Forehand and Wadsworth British Bulldog. And I'm pretty sure it's chambered in 32 caliber. The history with these is these were made, obviously the British made them first. Then they were copied by quite a few different companies in countries as well as the U.S. Forehand Wadsworth was one of them. But this little revolver was made between 1880 and 1889, and you can see it's still got the the striker right on the hammer and whatnot. So I got to get this little guy cleaned up and whatnot. They're not worth a whole lot, because they were thinking about estate selling it or whatnot. But I think it was only looking at online auctions that were comparable. It was probably $300, $350 for a piece like this or something like that. But I'm just gonna save it and clean it up. That way I can pass it down to my son one day. But I figured y'all being revolver guys, you'd enjoy something like that.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Now, Rob, this might be crazy, but is that thing rimfire?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I know it's 32 ACP, but other than that, I don't know for sure yet. I'm pretty sure it's centerfire, just by looking at the way that is, and the way it lines up with the cylinder.
If it lines up with the cylinder in the center, then it's not. But
Yeah.
I know that some of those older, around that time frame, they were still making 32 rimfires. I don't know if those Bulldogs ever came in it or not, but.
Well, the traditional Bulldogs were all larger bore.
That's a 44 rimfire and stuff like that's what I'm used to. So
yeah, they were all larger bore, but this one specifically, I've already measured. The diameter is 8.4 millimeters, which works out to be about 32 caliber. So looking it up, Farnham or Forehand and Wadsworth did make a what they called 32 short, because there is a 32 long, but that's supposedly what it's chambered in. So I'm going to be keeping that.
32 short?
Well, 32 short is just 32, because the only reason they specified it being short is because there is a 32 long.
Right. So you want some ammo for it that I can't shoot at my 32 long?
I mean, I guess if you ain't got anything to do with it, I don't have anything for it yet. So
text me your address.
But yeah, no, I got to get it cleaned up. I'm gonna break it down, clean it up. The other cool thing that I got is I got this, and this is a Hanel Model 28 DRP, and it's an air pistol, and it shoots. It says specifically on it, where the hell is it? 5.5 millimeters / 20.22 caliber, and it's got a break action here for you would load, the round in, and then to cock this thing, it is absolutely the biggest bear on the face of God's green earth. The spring in it is about that long, and it comes about that far into the cylinder. But to cock this thing, you push on the button to release it, and it is all the way back like that, just to get it to fire. But so I've got this thing that I've got to clean up as well that he had. So I figured I'd show those on air this week.
Are you going to have to cast your own projectiles for that thing?
I don't know. There's a lot of different variants of it. Like, this thing was made in Germany and is made by Hanel, like I said. But I got to figure out and look around, because I don't do a whole lot of air gun shooting. So I got to see, what all is out there. I've seen some people shooting like 17 caliber versions of it and whatnot. But as far as casting over, I have no idea. Like I said, I don't know. It is it's on the list of projects of things that I'll get to probably later this summer. But like I said, it's just an old 22 caliber air pistol that operates, even though it's an air pistol, like I said, it operates off of a spring. I've taken the spring out. I haven't broken it down any further, but it's a bear. And there's not a whole lot of info out there on them on YouTube.
A Mooser, the 32 is
yes,
a
sir.
5.6 shot.
It is a seven.
Okay, that's cool.
Tim brought up a very good point. He asked for 309 size bullets, so that's what I sent him. Let me run down to the basement right quick and get some that I haven't sized yet. MCK, I'll be right back, and I'll show you what they measure.
Yeah, I've got my granddad's old 32 as well, and it's a U.S. Revolver Company. It's basically an Ivor Johnson, turn of the century, 5-shot, break action. and it shoots 32 Smith and Wesson. You know, not ACP, but just a centerfire 32 Smith and Wesson.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of a unique thing in the fact that it was a copy of a pistol, and it was an American-made copy, and it loads similar to, you know, like a Blackhawk or something like that, where you pull down the side and whatnot. So it's not the typical you know, flip open side of the revolver, you know, and then it rotates clockwise. It seems to time well. So, you know, those are all things I'm gonna have to look at when I'm cleaning it up and, you know, doing a number on it. But it's a neat little piece. It's got a really stiff. That's got to be probably a 14 or 15 pound double action pull. But I tell you what, even after 120 years, the single action pull has got to be somewhere around between 4 and 5 pounds. But it looks like it's gonna be a neat little revolver. Like I said, I got to get it cleaned up. I need to. Obviously, I'm going to go through and measure each cylinder. I've not really even looked at the rifling yet to make sure that it's there and in good shape. But I got to measure everything and make sure, you know, it's all hunky dory to shoot. And then figure why not? You know, it's solid steel. I don't know what it weighs. I guess probably 1.5 pounds just sitting here holding my hand. But I'm just going to turn it into a little shooter. Figure why not? Rather than just put it up and do nothing with it, might as well have fun with it.
If I had to guess, that's 32, you know, Smith & Wesson.
It's what I would say too, being it's a center fire. Mine's in a lot rougher shape than yours, Rob, and I think it's probably in a little bit worse shape than what Georgia Boys showed. But mine's an old Smith, top break 32 5-shot, and it's pretty rough, but it will fire. And like you said, the actual trigger pull on it is very tough.
Well, you guys know I'm not a revolver guy, but being a smaller caliber and being an older gun and being just a little pocket gun, you know, it's something I would consider, you know, just tossing in a small little pocket holster and throwing in if I can get it running reliably and get it going. You know, I don't see any reason why not. But yeah, it seems to be mostly just surface rust that need to be cleaned up. You know, get a bronze brush to it and go to town and see how it does.
Yeah, between me and my dad, he's had several old Smiths, security 6 type stuff, 38s, some 32s, some old H&Rs and stuff like that. So you're gonna be hard pressed to get me to worry too much about an old gun if it's mechanically still, you know, solid, unless it's cracked or there's something bad in it. It's like, they'll do well. Just don't try to hot rod them.
No, for something like that, you know, I know you guys all cast and most everybody in here casts, but I don't cast. But if I'm gonna do something like that, that's an older gun. If I was going to cast for it personally, you know, I would just go with you know, a very light load. You know, just something that is well below max. You know, start around the minimum and look for a load that's semi-accurate around the minimum and not anywhere near the max. You know, I wouldn't want to put that kind of stress on those older guns. I mean, it's 120 some years old. Well,
any of the 32 Smith & Wessons you're going to find are going to be cast, big extruded bullets. They're not going to have any. As far as I've seen, I've never seen jacketed 32 Smith & Wessons. Now, Smith & Wesson long, sometimes you'll find some jackets which are strange, but they should all just be lead, and they'll be plenty soft. And trust me, if I can shoot them in this thing, that Bulldog, which is meant for a 44, will be fine. But yeah, they're neat, man. I love those old ones for sure. Eagle Eye says he's looking into a GP 130 327. Brother, you and I both. I've really been considering that that maybe that's what I need to go with, just as a straight up target gun. Get like a 6-inch barrel. Even though the only one I've seen 6 inches got them ugly Hogue grips on it. But that's just a screw away from being fixed.
I've got a GP 100 and 357, and it's the 4-inch barrel, and I love it. I have it lives in my 4-wheeler. You know, it lives in one of the side compartments of my 4-wheeler, and it I absolutely love it. There's not a thing bad that I can say about. I know it's not as good a quality as a Smith, or as a Smith or whatnot, or even a Colt. But I don't. Not being a revolver aficionado, I don't see enough of a difference that I find anything wrong with it. I think they're fantastic little revolvers, specifically out of that line. I think Ruger did a really good job with those.
Quality is not necessarily quality is quality. And what I mean by that is, like, Ruger makes very quality guns. Their finishing is not historically been on par with something like Smith or Colt. But lately, Smiths have had such a problem with quality assurance and quality that I'm telling you, man, it's really close to me. Now Colt is Colt, and they're charging $1 billion for what they're doing now. But I think the old Rugers. I think if you were to take like an old Black Hawk and really put it up against maybe a Model 19 Smith or something, that was two very different guns. But nowadays, I don't know. Everything wants to be stainless. Everything wants to, nothing wants to be very high blue polish. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the John Deere syndrome going on with that or not. Where if it's not green, it's not good type of deal. But like I said, I've always thoroughly enjoyed most all of Ruger stuff. Anybody who's watched a bit of my channel knows I had trouble with the LC9S, and that all traced back to the magazine, the extended magazines. But for their rifles, I've got their version of the 5.56. I forget exactly what it's called. It escapes me right now. But I've got that. It's a fantastic little thing. I mean, the Ruger American bolt action rifles are, doing well. Seems to be some decent things being said about the Security 9. So I think Ruger as a whole is putting out solid stuff now, and I think they always have been, to be honest with you. I just, like I said, I don't know if it's a little bit of the John Deere thing, if it's a little bit of a status symbol thing. Maybe 30, 40 years ago, they weren't putting out stuff that's as good as it is now, but I think what they're putting out right now is comparable to anything anybody else is putting out, to be honest with you.
I agree.
I've always been a Ruger guy myself, but that's just because when I got into firearms, Rugers were more in my price range. And now there's no difference, by and large. I can buy a GP100 for about the exact same cost as I can a new Smith. But there's no real the Smith quality to me has not continued like it used to. But so Jamie, what you got going on over there, bud?
I'm reading MCK's comments and I'm getting a little concerned. He's talking about overall length, and he's only, I think he's loading for a Mosin 7.62 by 54R would be that cartridge, I think. He's his bullets are not really big around enough, and he's sticking to the overall length to the point where he's only got like 1/8 of an inch of the bullet into the case. And I've heard somebody say, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't think I know everything. I'm smart enough to know that I don't know what I don't know. But I've heard it said that if you've not seated the bullet far enough into the case, at least as far as the diameter of the bullet, then it's not really safe. Can y'all help me out with that?
Jamie, my take on it, and this is I read a little bit of this, and I didn't know if I was going to comment or not, but I don't know about the throat depth of the Musty Nuggets, but from my experience, a lot of milsurps have very deep throats in them, and if you're trying to get out towards lands, you're going to have to use a bullet that's really long, and if you're using a long bullet, it's going to be heavy. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I think what you're saying, Nathan and Jamie, I think y'all are both right. I think if you're taking something like an older Mosin or something, especially with the Mosins and there being so many variants of them and so many different chamber cuts and whatnot, they were meant to be kind of like Glocks in the sense that they wanted them to be able to feed and fire everything. And I believe from everything that I've seen on them, that, that measurement is typically so long that, like Nathan is saying, unless you've got an extremely heavy, long bullet trying to deal with one where you're, trying to get like 30 thousandths off the lands or something like that, it's going to be very difficult, especially if you're running lighter for caliber rounds, to do it. And you're a lot of times better off sticking shorter with stuff like that.
I think what he's doing is he's using a cast bullet that is not what he's. I don't think his bullet's matching up with the data that he's using. He's trying to go with the overall length that's in his data, and you can't do that with a cast bullet.
Well, I mean, you can if you got the same bullet design,
Right?
But if you don't, one of the things and guys, this is something to be very careful of with handguns specifically, is if you go to overall length and you have a bullet that's heavier or longer or differently shaped, you can end up with extraordinarily less case capacity than what you think you should have. Now, in the case of what he's doing with what MCK, my experience has been when I'm working with mill searches, I typically try to find a bullet that matches close to what the gun was designed to shoot. And in your case, it's going to be a Spitzer 170 grainish. I'm thinking somewhere around there.
I thought they were like 168, something like that, Nathan.
Yeah. And I would stick with something around 168, 170 grains. Now, if I'm wanting to go lighter, like a pea shooter, then that's fine. But you got to seat it down in the case time. You can't just hang it right off the end of the case like that. You'll have problems with it. There's a chance you're going to have a lot of bullet jump. So as soon as the primer fires, it's going to knock the bullet out of the case, and it's going to fall up into the barrel because remember you got a deep throat, and then you're going to be burning enough. And seat it into the case deep enough to get a good bite on and good neck tension.
Well, here's a really good example, and these are both 130 grain bullets, and you can see where the cantilore is. This is on the SST with the boat tail, and these are both 6.5 bullets. You can see where the cantilore is on that. And then here is the interlock. And you can see, let me fix my hands here. You can see where the cantilore is on that. So, different overall lengths. If I was shooting, the same overall length, you can see the difference in the amount of the bullet that's in there. So, I would not be able to load these to the same overall length as each other, essentially. I could load this one a lot further out, the SST, than I could the interlock, just based on how much is there behind the cantilore. So, I think what Nathan's saying, being very bullet specific, is definitely right on point.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be scared of a round nose. And here's why I tell you that. My experience, this is a different gun, but my experience with the 303 Brit tells me that there's nothing wrong with a round nose. I loaded, this is when I was really young, I chose a load out of Cartridges of the World. I don't know if you're familiar with that book, but they usually have 2 or 3 very factory loads. And I chose, it was 174 grain round nose behind 31.4 grains at 30-31, and it's unbelievably accurate, and it does a great job. It's not the strongest in the world, but it does what I want it to do. So don't be scared of the round nose, especially with cast. Now, if you want to shoot a Spitzer just to do it, and you got your own thing, just be careful with all those other small details, like making sure you got a good neck tension, things like that, enough bullet in there. Willie said something about thanking everybody for posting videos. Brother, I spoke about that earlier, that feels like I can't get caught up, and I'm behind all the time, so it's been good times for video production for sure.
Let me ask you this. In MCK's, in his situation, I wrote down there and asked him, did he have a bullet puller? What would be wrong with reverse engineering some surplus rounds or whatever he had, as far as measuring the overall length with his calipers or whatever of a factory round, and then pulling a bullet and seeing how far it's seated down in there, and then work from there?
Well, generally, I mean, what I would do, and this is just my take on it, is I like to try to have my bullets seated flush to the neck if I can. And what I mean by is, like, however long your neck is, I want that much bullet in there if I can.
Right.
sometimes when I'll deviate from that, depending on very specific circumstances. But that's my big general rule on that. If you go pulling apart surplus stuff, you're going to find they're going to have actually probably a considerable amount more in the case than that, if memory serves right. And I'm not a Mosin Nagant guy, so I don't want to speak out of turn. But my experience has been that you're probably going to see a little bit more than just even the length of the neck, a bullet in there for sure.
Seems like my factory rounds running about right at 200 grains, 196, 200, somewhere around in there for my Mosin.
My understanding is if you go pulling apart bullets, old surplus bullets, you're going to find that they're all over the place. Is kind of the way my understanding is for those guns. That they're simply just going to be all over the place. You're going to be all over the map as far as, seating depths and whatnot. So I don't know. I don't think it's a bad idea, Jamie. I'm not saying it's the wrong way to do it at all, but I think if you do it that way, pick one that you want to replicate and go with it, because I think you're going to find that they're all over the map.
And MCK, just from my 2 cents, brother, your accuracy is going to be highly dependent on your muzzle. Sometimes with a decent jacketed bullet and some luck, you can get away with a muzzle that's subpar, but cast bullets typically you can't. So that's my 2 cents on it, brother. You go out there and test, and if you're shooting 4 MOA or so, that's probably what you're going to be able to do. And you can mess with a little bit more, but I'm just saying, if your muzzle isn't perfect, cast bullets tend to have a harder time, I think, shooting well.
They get knocked sideways as they come out.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob,
What's up, brother?
You mentioned that interlock bullet. I've had great luck with that as a hunting bullet. Now, I've not shot it for pinpoint accuracy, long range, but as a hunting round here in Georgia, I hadn't found anything any better than that interlock. What's been your experience with it?
That's actually where I'm at right now with my Creedmoor series. I have found that I've always used interlocks. I've preferred them to ballistic tips, mainly because our deer down here is so damn small that, like, for example, I shot a deer this week. In fact, it was 4th of July night, and she was 140 pounds, which is a good sized doe. But I shot a deer last week that was 75 pounds. So I've found that with the ballistic tip bullets, depending on what caliber I'm in, they do perform well, but I don't feel that I always get the same quality of exit wound as I do with the interlock. They definitely seem to dump a lot more energy quicker, but I don't always feel that I get the same exit channel that I'm looking for out of as I do when I'm using interlock. So that's going to be one of the things that I'm doing specifically in the 6.5 Creedmoor is I'm pitting these two against each other, using the same powders. They'll probably be a slightly different load, considering the fact I'm going to have to load them both at different overall lengths. And I would assume being different bullets that they're going to like slightly different charges. But I'm specifically going to be testing them very similarly to how I did the 6.5 Grendel with the Paul Harrell parody that I put out this week for the 6.5 Grendel and the meat target and whatnot. So I'm going to be going through a lot of that. And honestly, I'm rooting for the interlock just because they're cheaper. They're a lot cheaper, probably $5-10 a box. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how it does. But I've always really liked them. Yeah,
me too. Especially shooting, smaller calibers, 243, 7mm away, and I would assume 6.5 Creedmoor. With that interlock, I always get pass through. I always get an exit hole behind shoulder shots, and I didn't always get that with, say, ballistic tip stuff.
Yeah, What do you think of the 6.5 Creedmoor versus 6.5 by 47? Eagle Eye, I'll be honest with you. I like the Creedmoor. I really like the Creedmoor, but I am unabashedly biased in the sense that this isn't a bent rod Willie bolt, man. This is a wire that's got a little loop on it that I can use as a pull through. But I am unabashedly biased for the 6.5 Creedmoor, and the reason for that being is because I come from being a 270 shooter, and even though the 270 and the 6.5 are not the same, they are so ridiculously close when you come to looking at the ballistics of the bullets themselves. The 270, obviously, you can get more powder in it, but the bullets aren't as aerodynamic. They don't have as high BCs as the 6.5 Creedmoor does. The 6.5 Creedmoor is less powder, but higher BC bullets, and at the end of the day, that turns into giving you approximately the same performance on paper. So I personally like the drops that you get out of a 6.5 Creedmoor. I think if you're shooting 6.5, I like the kick. I think it's very similar to a 270. I don't see the need where I live down here for anything else. So that's just kind of my thoughts on the two. I can understand why some people would choose the 6.5 47 Lapua, but personally, it's just not for me. I'd rather have something that's compatible in an AR-10 platform that I can put, a number or whatever's on and not have to deal with it. But I've moved to a lot of semi-auto hunting. Like, for example, when I went out on the 4th in the field at 300 yards, there was 5 deer and 2 hogs. And we were sitting at about 45% moon, and moon was high overhead. It was about 4:30 in the morning. And I started to stalk out into the field, and the deer saw me, so I had to stop and ended up taking the first shot on the deer and then a couple other follow-up shots on the hogs. But for the hunting that I'm doing, realistically, I've got to have something in semi-automatic. So if it can fit in an AR-10 platform like the 6.5 Creedmoor does and perform similar to the 270, that's my choice, honestly. I can't come up with a good reason to not use 6.5 Creedmoor versus something else, unless you were going to say 308 for cost.
That's where I was fixing to go with it, Rob. The 270 has got pretty much the most flat trajectory of any round because it's moving so dang fast. Gravity has no time to catch a hold of it before it gets where it's going.
Exactly.
The 6.5 is running a heavier bullet. Yes, there's a higher ballistic coefficient, so you can actually do the math, pinpoint exactly where it's going based on all of your inputs and everything like that. But 308 is just so much cheaper. That's why I'm shooting it.
Yeah, and that's exactly where we load.
These are not cheap bullets. These are 208 grain AMAXs that I'm running out of a 308. Now find some load data for that.
Yeah, that's where reloading comes into play. If I was not a reloader, or not pretending to be a reloader on TV, I would quite possibly go the 308 direction just for cost. But the size of deer down here, even the deer y'all have up north that are bigger, it's just.
I wouldn't even say they're bigger.
I mean, y'all do have some bigger deer. Y'all have some bigger deer up in the northern part of the state than we do down here. But even still, even for hogs, I can understand going 308, but I think 270, 6.5 Creedmoor is really all you need living in the state of Georgia.
Oh, yeah. 270 is overkill. I've got 270s that I worked up a killer load for. And but the thing about it is they're traveling so fast, the animal doesn't even know it's shot. It'll go in and out before it can even expand to its full potential, and they'll run 75, 100 yards. It's just with a 110 grain projectile going 3,700 feet per second, it doesn't know what happened. You know, it thought it got stung by a bee and took off running, and then it heard the gunshot and takes off running even more.
Yeah, I generally personally tended to stay in the 130 grain class with my my 270 stuff. So, you know, going to 130 grain 6.5 Creedmoor to me made the most sense. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, my loads are target loads, but they're with hunting bullets. I went the oddball route. I made target loads with hunting bullets. That way, if I ever decided that I wanted to take 270 hunting, it'd be a nice, you know, lethal shot on the animal and not make it suffer and everything like that. So,
Yeah, I ran into the same thing 25 years ago. I had a Ruger #1 in 25-06. That's just not the gun for Georgia.
oh no! I bought a 25-06 to go elk hunting in Colorado.
Yeah, that's a pronghorn gun. You know, it's.
Oh yeah.
And up here, we don't have the bean fields and stuff like a Mooser has down south too much. Maybe we get lucky, get a power line or something like that. But
let me go get y'all something. I'll be right back.
Georgia boy, we've loaded up some of those Hornady interlocks in for 30-30. We were shooting some pretty good groups with them. We haven't tried them on any game yet.
this Winchester 94, this old pre-64, it loves the 170 grain interlock. I've got a good load with it with IMR 3031.
I think we were using the 150 grain. Just get a little more speed and distance out of it.
Yeah.
But I prefer the 170 grain and 30-30. That's what I load. I load 170 grain cast bullets and 30-30.
Yeah.
well, and a lot of it comes down to distance that you're shooting at too. You know, like I know because of the fact I live down here where I do, where it's a lot of farmland. You know, most people in Georgia don't take a 200-yard shot at all, let alone 350, 400 like I do down here. So, you know, the hunting that I do down here is very rare for in the state. You know, Kyle, I don't know, you know, Kyle or Jamie or even Georgia boy, you guys even anywhere up there that you can even think of that you hunt that you take anything over 250-yard shot?
Yes. The only time you get that kind of shot up here is power lines, fresh clear cuts, or, you know, a pasture, something like that.
Soybean fields, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm blessed to be able to hunt a old cattle farm, and it's over 200 acres, and it's mostly fields, pastures, open pastures. And I've killed a deer at 167 yards, and but that's my furthest shot. I like these transition type areas. I like where the field turns into the woods, it turns into the other field on the other side. You know what I'm talking about, Georgia boy? Those type transition areas are the best hunting that you'll find.
Yeah, I always like to hunt on a point where I got woods behind me and a field in front of me, something like that. Where I
Yeah.
both.
In a stand where you can turn around and see in the woods.
Yep.
And on a windy day, you can't. When I go home after hunting on a windy day, I haven't seen any deer. I'm wondering how many of them snuck behind me. I couldn't hear them in the woods for the trees are rustling. But
yeah,
most of the deer I've killed been inside 100 yards. I'll just tell you.
Yeah, and that's like I saw somebody made a comment. Who was it? Where was it? Willie made it about the 300 black, 300 AAC. Yeah, Willie made about 300 AAC, wanting to pop a hog with a 300 AAC, and you know, it's like from my Grendel series. For those of y'all that are following it, the Grendel at 300 yards is great. It'll work on a deer, but it's not going to work on a hog at 300 yards. You know, if like I gave the example yesterday night, being the full moon, you know, I've got to walk into these fields from, you know, I've only got places that I can enter, and they're wide open fields that are wide open on three sides with, you know, tree lines on the back side. So, you know, I have nothing for cover that I can use. So I've got to sneak into these fields and get as close as I can. And if 300 yards is it, 300 yards is it. So, you know, trying to take a shot at 300 yards on a hog with a 6.5 Grendel is not going to not going to produce the results you're looking for. But you know, moving up to something like a 6.5 Creedmoor 270, you know, definitely would get the job done for sure.
This is what I went to go get. This is an 800-yard target with my 270 target load. And just to give you a glimpse, that's a quarter.
Yeah.
It's an 800-yard target with my hand reloads at 3,700 feet per second. They allowed us 5 shots to sight in. After 4, I went, I'm good. I went down 2 clicks, and here we go.
Yeah, my X-Bolt 270 at 100 yards is not even, and it's only got a 14 power scope on it or something like that. It's not even a challenge to put, you know, 4 or 5 bolts in the same hole.
Yeah. This is out of the 3x9, and I didn't know we were going out to 1,000 meters or yards or whatever y'all want to call it.
Those are two different things.
I figure everything in meters. Leave me alone.
What was that, Nathan?
So those are two different things. Can't be like, all meters or yards. No, those are two different things.
I do have something here for Jamie. Jamie, we talked about this last week, but you said you didn't know I had it, that I had one, but I most certainly do. And I don't know if that'll pick up on the camera or not. I'm trying to get it. But it is the 336 CS 35 Remington, and the first 2 numbers of the serial number are, if I can find the damn thing.
Everybody's showing them off. Here we go.
Anyways, it's made in the 80s, so it's a real Marlin. It's not a Freedom Group garbage crap. So
They're hiding.
I do have one.
They're hiding the serial number under the foregrip, I think.
And in Georgia, it's really an essential to have some type of brush gun, whether it's 35 Remington, 45-70, something that you can get a big fat round nose bullet in for a lot of the thick brush we've got to shoot in down here. So
no, 30 works great. That's why it's so popular down here. 35 is just, if it's really thick, the tree limbs won't deflect the bullet as much, and you stand a better chance of hitting it.
So Preacher's Day Off asked, you know, we need to settle the best deer hunting round. And which is funny because it's almost like it's impossible. It's been something that's been talked about for 1 billion years. But if I had my 2 cents, it's the 30-30. Just all around, very hard to beat.
I would say I think a lot of people would agree there have been more deer killed in this country with a 30-30 than any other caliber.
Mm-hmm.
That said, in the last 15 years, I would wager that there have probably been more deer killed with a 270 than there have a 30-30. And I only say that based on talking to shop owners. 30-06 would be another one, but talking to shop owners and going around and, you know, like when Gander Mountain was going out of business down there, Nathan, the first ammo that they ran out of was 270. So
70 is really popular. It's a great cartridge. It's been a great cartridge since it was introduced. I'm not disagreeing with it at all.
Well, here's the difference right here between a 35 Remington and a 30-30. A 35 is a substantially larger projectile, and I think that's why a lot of people use it. It packs more of a punch, although the 30-30 does great, but it also is less deflected by brush, you know, twigs, stuff like that. I mean, you hit a tree trunk, you just didn't aim right, but it's less deflected by leaves and pine straw. So it's, you know, and they both have the same accuracy and range rating. So
I guess the question then would be, and I'll start by answering it, then I'll ask y'all, if y'all could only pick, yes, this is a Georgia stream for y'all that are watching, wonder why I've said y'all about 8 times in the same sentence, but if y'all could only hunt one caliber, what caliber would it be, and why? And for me would be 270 for all of the reasons aforementioned. So you guys go ahead with that one.
308.
Why?
Because there's nothing in this state that I can't kill with it if I've got to. Even a bear, whatever, I don't care. It's 308. and just ease for reloading, bullet options, D, all the above. And I like the guns that are typically in 30-06 that I can get my hands on. So, or 308.
What about the rest of y'all, Jamie?
30-06. The reason being, you can get rounds loaded with so many different weights of bullets that you can use that round to do so many different things and kill deer in so many different places, or whatever, bear, whatever. But one thing I like best is when you're using that 180 grain Winchester Super X PowerPoint. When the bullet hits the deer hits the ground, and you don't have to chase it down or wait 30 minutes to let it expire or nothing. You just back the truck up, throw it in there, go to lunch, right?
Preacher, what about you, boss? What would be your pick?
Is this for the state of Georgia?
However you want to generalize it, boss.
Yeah, I don't know.
You get one.
7mm 08.
That's fair. You got a reason?
Yeah, it's bigger than a 243, which would be my first pick probably, but I like the 08 because I can get a 140 grain bullet in it. Short case based off the 308. I can get a little more distance out of it. Yeah, I'd shoot anything in Georgia with it.
Kyle?
All right, here's the difference in a 30-06 and a 308 casing. A 308 with the weight bullet that I'm shooting can accurately fly all day long at 1,100 yards. We'll say that before it goes transonic. I'm not going to get a shot at 1,100 yards in this state hunting anything. So why waste the extra powder and everything? I love my 30-06. I've got a beautiful Winchester 30-06. It is gorgeous. It's from the early 70s, and it rocks. And y'all see that in a video coming up next week because hopefully it won't rain. Bacon. But most of my favorite round around here is going to be a 308 because it'll drop anything, including a bear that's charging without even thinking. So I'm gonna go with a 308 because there's no reason to need the 1,500 yards of a 30-06 when 1,100 is overkill.
That's fair.
Well, hey guys, if you guys don't mind, you mind me doing this giveaway thing? Try to get it out of the way.
Yeah, sure. Rock out.
All right. See if I can figure out how to do all this crazy stuff.
I'm gonna run the little boys' room. So if I win, tell me when I get back.
All right, brother. All right. All right, guys. So we had 17 people that commented on the video. Now, some people didn't put it whether they wanted a T-shirt or a hat or didn't put a size. Most of everybody that did wanted an extra large, so we might run into a bit of a situation there. So we've got 3 T-shirts, 2 extra larges, 1 large, and a hat. We'll just do the random number generator from Google. I've got 1 to 17. That should cover everybody. And let's go ahead and hit that. Number 11 is Lynn Kruger. She posts on several of my videos. So I'm going to go ahead and message her. And that's going to help out some because, like I said, no large, no extra large, or no hat. So that might help out. Let's see who number 2 is. OP25. And he wanted an extra large shirt. Number 3, Crazy Scotsman. Dude, you always win shit. Always. All right, that's both extra larges are kind of gone. And number 10 was, this is silly luck. Jack, who says he'll take an extra large or a hat. So we got a hat coming to Jack, A large T-shirt going to Lynn. OP's getting an extra large, and Crazy Scotsman getting an extra large.
I think we need to start banning Scotsmen from these competitions. This is getting out of hand. We can't be having this crap no more.
Yeah, hey man, I'm all for it.
Ooh. He does enough for everybody else. He deserves a damn shirt.
Yeah, I'll send the Scotsman a shirt every day.
Yeah, absolutely, man. As much stuff as he does for the community and everybody, and he's sending people stuff all the time. Speaking of which, Tim sent out like 1 billion packages, and Uncle Jim did the same thing the past couple weeks. You guys in shipping, I don't know how you're getting away with it. In fact, I feel guilty. I feel like I should be sending everybody checks back when they send me stuff.
Hey, reach in your pocket, sir.
Reach in my pocket. I got my pocket.
Oh, Jamie.
My pockets are empty, brother.
Jamie knows what I'm talking about. Reach in your pocket, sir.
I usually have a little bit of lint.
Thanks, Uncle Jim. You didn't think he'd give it to me, did you?
I don't even know if you came through when you said that on the big screen because you didn't talk enough. I guess that's my problem.
Well, thanks, Uncle Jim. I got my Cobra. Can y'all see it? No.
Yeah, we can see it.
I even got the insert. There you go.
And Jim thought I wouldn't give it to you. I mean, ever since I got the NOE sizing die, I'm only running 1 bucket, so all I need is 1. Jeez.
Kyle? Where does that red thing that you had in your hand? That red, yeah. What is that from?
It's a Lee sizing die.
Oh, okay. That's what that container is.
Or just Lee dies.
Well, now it's Lee dies, yeah.
Well, no, now. I mean, I don't know if are they even still using that? They used to use that back
No.
years ago for rifle dies. They almost always came in those. I've got a couple of them, but now I know the sizer die.
I thought it was a newer thing, actually.
Everything I've got come in the flats. So that's why I saw a couple of different videos. I think one of Jim's videos, a couple other videos where people have got those, and I just didn't know where they came from.
Well, Nathan sent one to JCM 45, didn't you, Nathan?
Yeah. I sent one for to him that I had for another sizer. Yeah, Rob, all my new stuff comes, I think, in the flats. But the older stuff I got 10, 15 years ago all came in the round.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I've seen them.
I've never even seen the round things until here lately, actually.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Everything I've got's in flats. I don't have anything around.
Yeah, I think my 303 Brit stuff and my Mausers are in. Those are like the first things I started reloading. They run around, and then I also got at the same time a set of dies for 8x56 or Steyr, and they were in flats, but that was because it was a 2 die set. If you got a 3 die set, it came in the round box. I don't know. I don't think they're doing it anymore because I got a bigger 308 set and it came in the flat, so I have no idea.
Yeah, but that's weird because these 35 Remington dies right here, because I never bought the stuff to reload it. I've had the gun for 30 years, but these are the new style packaging and everything, and they're in the flats. So
yeah,
they make a turret canister too to store your turrets in that looks similar to the size and die canister.
And actually, Georgia boy, that's exactly what I was just doing. I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, did they pull something out of the back of the old stock room? I think they did.
Yeah,
because it fits.
That's a turret canister.
Well, no, this came from one of my sizing kits.
Does it have the? Okay, yeah, I see it. Yeah.
So I think they just started milling out the bottom of this where it was flat and letting it roll. But like I was telling Uncle Jim, ever since I got that NOE sizing die, where it's only $9 to change calibers, I just buy a new bushing and use the same die. I only need one bucket. Hell, here's another one. What is this one? This one's the 9mm, the 356. I just put that die in that press and put this on top of it and size bullets.
Yeah, that NOE sizing kit seems to be the way to go.
It is awesome, man. I can't even begin to tell you how much I appreciate Uncle Jim sending me that. It's so awesome. I don't have to mess with nothing. I just start cranking. And if I go to 223, he's got an insert in there to keep everything from bunching up. So it's beautiful. He really went way beyond anything he needed to when he sent those out.
Yeah, that Cobra's great.
Yeah, that NOE size, and that's an amazing kind of advance in cast bulleting from when I first started. When I first started, it was the Lubricizer or Magma research. Really was it? I mean, there wasn't. Then the Lee push through sizers came out for the Lee lubing, and then which gave us a little bit more options, and then the NOE came out. And that NOE, being able to get one in any size you want, it's just such an advantage.
Yeah.
I wish I would have known about it before.
I think it's relatively new.
$25 on each one. I'd have spent $9 on a different insert.
Kyle, I think that's relatively new, buddy. I think he put those out about a year ago.
Yeah, they are new. That's what I'm saying. I wish I'd have known about it when I first started doing this stuff. But anybody that's just getting into it, that's the way to go. It'll save you so much money.
Yeah, and it makes it easy. I don't know if you guys are like this, but I'm kind of an organizer. I know Kyle puts his presses on with C-clamps, so I doubt it. But I like to have things in like boxes.
I'm not through welding up the plates yet, sir. Thank you.
Those little dies and stuff are really good to put in like tackle boxes to have organizers, so you can have all your stuff measured and you can label it if you want to get that crazy with it. But it makes it really easy to organize and keep everything in one place, so you're not chasing stuff down and you don't have big old die boxes for one die.
Yeah, I think for the guy that's got 15, 20 of the Lee sizers, it may not make sense to convert over to the NOE, but I've got like 4 or 5. It makes a lot of sense for me to go ahead.
If you're going to start going into different calibers, yes, it is. And hey, Nathan,
sure.
Oh look, I store all my different sizers in different NOE baggies in the same drawer. I'm organized-ish.
Oh, Kyle, I'm just messing with you, brother.
What are y'all's thoughts?
Appreciate you coming out. Have a good one, brother.
Since we got everybody here, what are y'all's thoughts against, these cast bullets that we powder coat versus traditionally lubing them or doing both? Because I've seen a lot of people doing both. Who has experience where?
I see no reason to do both. I don't even see how that could make sense.
I've just seen people doing it. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm asking.
Hey, Vanessa, how you doing? My take on it, brother. I mean, and like this is, I'm getting into powder coating about the same time everybody else is. I've been, traditional lube and bullets forever. I've still got a couple that I worked up the load with a traditional lube, and I'm not going to change it because I don't need to.
Right. Yeah, I can understand that. But see, I don't have any equipment to use a lubricizer. None.
I'd recommend getting one, man. And the reason why I said that is because there's going to be certain circumstances that I'd really think that the traditional lubing has got like kind of a thing to it. But I mean, you can pan size. There's a lot of different ways to do it.
I was going to say, do you think that's why people are powder coating and then pan lubing them, or?
I think that's just people being people. But I mean, you can pan lube a sized bullet. A powder coated bullet is like having, to me, a powder coat acts like a jacket. We don't, just because it has a lube groove doesn't mean you have to fill it with anything. I don't.
That's where I was at. And hey, Mr. Robinson, if you're out there, can you chime in on this, please? Because I know you've done both. And what were your experiences?
I'll be honest, my thing, and I like to use traditional type lube in larger, slower bullets, and I can't even really tell you why that is. I just know that if I'm going to shoot like a big old like 270 grain 45 cold at 800, 900 feet per second, I'll traditional lube it. And I don't know why.
Because that's tried and true, and I don't think anybody's ever tested that with powder coat.
I probably could. It's just the way I've always, like, if I was going to shoot some like big 40 or 50, 70, long range, if I'm going to shoot a sharps, like I'm going to have traditional lube, but I'm going to get all crazy with it. Like maybe like, deer fat or something. I mean,
paper parchment wrapped deer fat coated bullets.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not talking like on Pam or nothing. So, I mean, I think it depends on what you want to do. But my take on so far looking at the powder coating is I see no benefit to one way over the other if you can get your traditional lube to work. If you can get your traditional lube to work and not lead, it'll be fine. If you can powder coat it, it's just easier and quicker. You don't have to fart with it.
The only benefit that I see is I don't have to buy another $300 press.
Ooh. Are 4,500s going to $300 now?
I don't know. A traditional Lyman lubicizer, I figure they're about $280 to $300.
Nah, man, they're less than that. I got them with. I got that whole kit, same one Tim Robinson has. My buddy, I think that came at like 180, something like that.
Has it got the heater?
Yeah, for the no heater. But if the old lady leaves a hairdryer around, it's over.
Hell, wouldn't it be cheaper to just run a heater instead of the damn hairdryer? We live in Georgia; it does get cold.
Well, it does. One, it doesn't. I do this stuff in the house, so it doesn't get that cold. But
so do all the lubing on the back porch in July and August.
If you want to, I wouldn't do that. Depending on the lube, because you have stuff running everywhere. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of phrasing involved when you're talking about lubing.
Yeah, Fuzz, he was talking about A-locks, and that's where I started.
Yeah, LLA?
Yeah, I didn't do the lubricizer. When I started casting, I was using the 45-45-10 system, and then just made the switch over to powder coat. So I never did the whole lubricizer thing.
Now, the A-lock stuff is great. It'll coat them really good, not a problem. Makes the basement smell like Fido's butthole and, whatever. But then when you start loading the bullets, every, 75 to 100 rounds, you got to take your dies apart and clean them because it all sticks to them.
Yeah.
I didn't care for that. You take every round out and rub it down with rubbing alcohol and then put it in your bucket. And of course, you can expect your rounds better, but that just didn't seem the way to go to me.
Yeah, the 45-45-10 worked a little better than straight A-locks with, the mineral spirits and the floor wax, mixing them all up. Right. And they weren't sticky,
Yeah, I've still got a tin of Johnson's paste wax sitting up there. I don't think I'll ever use it. At least for
A-locks, man, that's some goopy stuff. And I got bottles of that stuff sitting everywhere from every lead package I ever bought. I notice now they're not sending it with it.
No.
Yeah, I had a bunch of it laying around too. I think I'm down to one tube. I might have given the rest of it to Dad because he still uses it. What I thought was interesting is reading the reasoning behind the LLA and why it supposedly worked, and I still don't think it's right. Like reading the Lee book about lube, I'm like, nah, I don't think that's right. Maybe I'm crazy, but it just doesn't seem to fit. Like I go more with what Lyman says than what Lee says on that. And somebody asked about the.
I actually did test it. I tested the A-locks. I sat it on a steel plate at the shop and took a torch on one that I coated because I was like that everything that one picture that they're putting in every single die set or catalog or whatever, it's got to be bullshit. Sorry, family show. So I took a piece of a bullet that I'd already A-locked, took a torch to it, and the lube didn't go anywhere. The lead melted out from underneath the lube, so it was impressive.
I think they originally designed it for the tumble lube design bullets that Lee created, didn't they?
Yeah. That's where it came from, and they changed all. They took traditional lube sticks and thinned them out to where it would work, and then added all kinds of synthetic crap to them to where it would withstand heat. I think is exactly what they did.
Yeah, but this is what got me about that, boss. And I don't watch this. Okay, somebody asked earlier about soft lube versus hard lube, I think is what they were asking. And I was never a hard lube guy. I'm a soft lube guy. I'll use any kind of soft lube. I actually tend to go towards Molly lubes. Well done, by the way. A lot of phrasing in there. But here's the thing with the LLA. Being able to withstand heat doesn't actually prove anything to me. Like, just because it doesn't melt, okay? Like, the question I have is, like, does it move? Does it just stick? I think they were unintentionally doing the same thing, sort of, that powder coating is doing. I think they were jacketing the bullet in goop.
I agree with that.
I really don't think it was any kind of actual lube. I think lube was the wrong term. It was a coating that went on the bullet, and once it had hardened, it formed a kind of a jacket. And
the thing about it is, though, it never really hardened. And once you take a torch to one, you can actually watch it start. The lead starts dissolving before the lube starts moving. It's got a higher melting point than 700 degrees.
Yeah, which, I mean, to me doesn't really get us anywhere, though, does it? Like,
well,
okay.
It's enough.
Well, it's enough to do what?
The lead's not melted yet.
I mean, I don't know, boss. It just, I think it worked. I think it worked fine. I've seen it work in a lot of different cases.
I mean, I don't use it. I don't use it at all. That's what I'm saying. I got jars of it because powder coating is just so much easier.
Yeah.
I think that's the original step into something else, just like what you said. I think it was the original step into some other format. So,
okay, here's a question. So we started out originally with traditional lube, then A-locks, then 45, 45, 10, now powder coating. What's next? You know there's somebody somewhere already tinkering with something.
Well,
who knows, brother?
My take on that, brother, is it's already happening, and it's these cast bullets that have no grooves in them. It's the high-tech bullets.
Yeah.
I've been looking at buying a couple of NOE molds that grooveless, and they've got some that are grooveless with gas checks, but I've been looking at trying some of that and
what
happens. But hell, you're out $100 when you buy the mold, so. I keep going with what I got and save $100. In other words, one of you rich people out there, why don't y'all go ahead and buy one of these molds and send me some bullets, and I'll go test them.
Yeah, but what are they coating these new slick-sided bullets with?
Powder coating or high tech?
Yeah, what I've seen is high tech or powder coating. That's it.
Yeah,
high tech's a lot thinner than powder coating. So if you can get a mold that drops an accurate sized bullet and just high tech coat it, there's no need to size, period.
Yeah.
I mean, I would still size just that way I knew what it was, because I'm ordering custom sized, bushings for my sizing die based on the bore diameter or what I'm shooting the bullet through. But
yeah, Uncle Jim says that wet tumbling and PC is the best thing that's happening in reloading. And brother, I could not agree more.
I agree.
I'm telling you, wet tumbling. The only thing I use my dry tumbler for now is to take all my scrap powder coating, which a lot of it includes Harbor Freight, red and white and yellow and everything. I just dump it all in there and turn it on for 10 minutes and then powder coat the bullets. That's all.
As a newer reloader, I saw no reason whatsoever to even get a dry tumbler. There's no justification for me to buy a dry tumbler.
Powder
next week
coating
got a wet
bullets.
tumbler.
Maybe.
What's that?
Powder coating bullets is about the only reason I would consider buying one now.
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
do that in an ice cream tub. Why do I have to buy a damn tumbler?
Yeah, but if we get those days, man, and this is true down here, if you get one of those days when it's 300% humidity, it gets hard.
That is very true. I've had times when I can't get Ford Light Blue to stick to nothing. No matter how hot I get it, it won't stick.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
there has been those days. You are correct. I do most of my powder coating in the fall and winter.
I remember using. All right, so I started out with a tumbler, not a vibratory tumbler, but an actual rock tumbler, and Dad was using I think some kind of rouge in like a kitty litter kind of thing. I don't know.
Right, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Then
Cut
there
a
was
hunk of white rouge and put some oil dry in there and let it eat.
Then there was walnut media, and then we tried some of the other stuff. I used dirt at one time. I put sand in there, and that worked actually surprisingly well. Newspaper. I mean, I used everything to try to get this crap to work. I've used walnut in a vibratory. I did all that stuff trying to get what I was looking for. And finally, somebody's like, will you please go buy some pins? This was like a couple years back and try this wet tumbling method. It was, I'm not going to say new, but I hadn't started it. It was just like, oh. And it's like you do it one time and then you just throw all that other shit away. It's like, nope, I got it. It is amazing how much of a difference it makes in your cleaning process and getting your primer pockets clean and everything else. It's crazy.
Well, even like for me, like I'll resize my cases, and rather than spending the time that it takes to wipe each one down, and you still got a little bit of lube left on the mouth and these, I just throw them in the wet tumbler without pins with just a little bit of soap and Limishine for 30 minutes and let them, and it knocks it all right off, and I don't even got to worry about it. So
the only thing that I've really found that the pins do is clean the inside of the case and the primer pocket. I've tumbled full batches, half batches, a couple with or without pins. The only thing that it does, it gets inside and gets everything clean down to brand new brass. But when my stainless steel pins run out, because the stainless steel gods have to get theirs every batch, but when they run out, I don't even know that I'm going to rush out and buy another bag.
Yeah, I don't use pins. I mean, I think pins really help if you're getting range brass and it's really nasty.
If it's terrible, yeah, I can see that. If it's terrible.
But like me, and just revolvers and lever guns, and most of your brass never hits the ground. Just like a Mooser said, some soap, hot water, and some Lemmy-Shine.
Yep.
Yeah, I pick up range brass. So I was dealing with, and I was at the time, I was actually trading it for lead. And that's where the sand came in. I could use sand for just a short period of time. You don't use it a long time. And it would get all that, the big bulk part of that tarnish off and a lot of the heavy crap off. And then you could go into polishing it, stuff like that. But yeah, this wet tumbling makes it so much easier.
Kitty had a good question.
It's actually just easier. You take a couple of seconds and set everything up and turn it on and go do something else. Go mow the grass.
What was Kitty's question that we missed? What are you doing with your wet tumbling effluent after you use it? Freaking dump it down the drain.
Yeah.
Going into my
out in the garden, actually. I probably got toxic tomatoes, but who knows?
Mainly what it is, what you're gonna have is you're gonna have powder residue, which is nothing more than fertilizer.
Yeah, it's just carbon and soap.
Yeah, that's not much. You're gonna have dirt from the dirt. You're gonna have some brass tarnish, that's not really gonna be toxic at any kind.
It's gonna be nickel fortified.
Yeah, so I don't think there's a lot of toxic stuff that's gonna be in that. Now the lead is this kind of touchy one. You're gonna have lead in brass. That's why they tell you not to breathe in the dust from a vibratory tumbler. So you're gonna have lead involved in that. And I don't know any way to do that any better than just letting the letting the city take care of that.
Letting the sewer system do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I maybe somebody knows a little bit better than I do, but you're going to have some lead in it, and I don't know if it's at toxic levels if you're doing one batch at a time.
Well, apparently, all you need to do is take it up to Flint, Michigan, and they'll just run it back through the tap.
Word, absolutely. Yeah, I just dump it right down in the drain. Yeah, kitty, there's Vanessa, there's going to be some lead. There just has to be. I know that there's going to be some lead to it. I don't think it's at toxic levels when you're doing one batch. What was happening with toxicity from cleaning brass is the actual media would collect lead. So you would run walnut media or corncob media, and you would clean brass after brass after brass after brass after brass, and the lead would collect inside that media. And then whenever you opened it up and you would have a cloud, a lot of that would be lead dust because it's just been collecting in there for months on end, many different rounds. So with this, you are going to get lead that's going to be coming out of there, but you get lead out of everything. You get lead out of pipes. I mean, I still have lead piping in this house, I think, in spot, or at least lead joints for damn sure. So I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it's a real small doses, but it's probably not the best thing.
I would guarantee that you would probably get more lead exposure by going outside and like cleaning up underneath of your steel targets than you would.
God, yes.
Oh Lord, yeah.
And like that's the point Jim made. And like I've got a septic field here, and I don't use lead cast bullets anyways. But even if I did, it just wouldn't. I'd take it outside and rinse it out right same place where I rinse my gray water. Just because, like I said, there's more lead outside and underneath my steel targets than there ever would be coming out of effluent of a tumbler.
My hands do not get silver when I'm dumping out wastewater from a tumbler. Now, if I'm picking up rain scrap, emptying a bullet trap, grabbing projectiles from the berm, all that stuff, my hands are silver at that point. I'm going to wash them before I eat anything because I have what they used to call common sense. So, I don't know. Call me crazy.
All I'm using is a little bit of Dawn and some Lemon Shine.
That's what I'm using. And in fact, mine's not even Lemon Shine. Mine's just I went to Amazon and bought a 5-pound bag of whatever in the hell Lemon Shine actually is.
Yeah.
Citric acid powder.
Yeah, a 5-pound bag of citric acid that I just grab a pinch and throw it in with the Dawn dish soap, 2 squirts of Dawn dish soap, and a little bit of Lemon Shine.
That's a brilliant idea, man. That is a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I don't use. Some people use the Royal Purple. There's other cleaners. I don't. I haven't had any problems just with a little bit of Dawn, and I've always got it on hand. Well, guys, actually, we're getting pretty close here, so we might want to start wrapping it up.
Well, what I was going to say right quick is if I'm going to use an ultrasonic cleaner, I use the purple simple green. The industrial simple green is still all natural and everything. It's just a little more concentrated, and they don't dye it green.
You mean this one?
Exactly.
Exactly what's in this spray bottle.
Yep, that's what I use, and I just go like splash and then fill it up with water, and it'll clean anything you want. And it's totally 100% non-toxic. The only toxins you're going to put into it is what came out of your gun.
Yeah, that is my main gun cleaner when I go after that revolver.
That stuff's awesome. Just disassemble it, throw it in there in 100 pieces, turn it on for like 4 cycles, go do something else, and come back.
See, I don't have an ultrasonic, so I just spray it on, and that's what I use. If I'm trying to get all of the lubrication out of something,
oh really?
Like if I'm going to paint something or whatnot, I hit it with some industrial strength.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's what I do with them before I frog lube them and everything to get all the petroleum out of it.
Yeah. Well, with frog lube, especially, you have to, because they're one of those products where they say you need to remove everything.
Right. And that's my problem. I've shot Jamie's AR more than I've shot any of mine, so I don't need to clean any of mine. So, and mine are all frog lubed. I want to do a Ed's Red comparison versus frog lube and see, round for round, how dirty it is and how hard it is to clean. Because I'm liking the Ed's Red, man. It cuts right through all kinds of stuff. I'm just wondering about the lubrication abilities and everything. Of course, I add a quart of Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil to mine, but I don't know. We'll get to that later.
Signal Soldier asked about some spots on his cases, but I've got some relatively hard water here, not super hard, but a little hard. I would actually check your PC. You might already have enough acid in your water that you don't need to add any, or you may not need to add any lemon shine. That's the first thing I would try is not putting any lemon shine in there. Use hot water.
It's not PC, it's pH, sir.
No, what it said pH? I might have said PC. Hell, I don't know.
You said PC.
Well, I meant pH. Check your pH balance if you want. pH balance for her. Just use a little bit of Dawn hot water and throw it in your oven 200 degrees for a couple minutes to dry it off. And if that doesn't do it, then just keep messing with your. Basically, you're gonna have to keep messing with it to find out what worked for that water. I haven't had any problems with it with spots personally, and I've got relatively hard water, but I'm not mountain hard. I'm just like local kind of shitty water hard. So, and pizza rolls preheat for pizza rolls. And I highly recommend having a separate oven than your home's oven for doing your reloading type work.
Yeah, I forgot the pH of my water is really bad. It's like 7.3 something. It's extremely acidic. But even still, I don't end up with spots on mine unless I leave it on the tin foil too long while I'm drying it in the oven. If I don't shake it enough, it'll get some spots just from the tin foil. But I don't end up with spots on mine with just a little bit of citric acid. And
no, actually 7.3 is kind of like extremely base. The lower the number, the higher the acid.
That's why I said mine's pretty acidic. And that's after like coming out of the tap and going into a cup and aerating itself.
It's on the base side of the middle line. I give you that.
Vanessa, I've got my toaster oven is a convection oven. It's from Walmart. I didn't pay much for it. It's a pretty good size one.
And Vanessa, we live up here in these North Georgia hills. If we're distilling anything, it ain't gonna be water, huh?
Speaking of, I need to go get some figs from the father-in-law's house to do a little bit of that this week. We turn that into wine, and then wine becomes brandy. So,
can you put this on YouTube?
Well, you're allowed to make. That looks like a nice jar of water.
Shake it up, Kyle.
It is. It's awesome water. It'll dissipate.
That's about. Never mind. I ain't going there. Y'all go ahead. Comment.
Ain't terrible. It's already been cut, Jamie.
Yeah, I thought them bubbles were a little big.
It's already been cut, sir. That's
Put
so you can drink it.
Do what, Georgia boy?
I said, put some of that in your wet tumbler.
Yeah.
Woo-wee.
You'll get spotty cases, man.
Okay, Eagle Eye brought this up, and I do want to say something about this. Says, was it your video showing you're accidentally annealing brass from being left in the oven? Guys, if you accidentally do that, if you have your oven set for 450 or some crap like that, and you don't realize it, you let them sit in there.
Holy crap!
When you get done, or when you pull them out, I'd probably throw them away.
Right.
When you anneal brass, you're supposed to anneal just to basically to where where the neck turns. You don't want to kneel down into the case head. So if it's 450 degrees, that's
gonna blow some case heads apart and stuff.
Yeah, toss them. That's tough luck, man. That's a bad day. That's there's gonna be some curse words said about something like that.
I mean that's the kind of thing that it sucks if you do it, but it's not worth the risk of just trying it and hoping that there's just too much of a risk there that you're better off to just pitch it and eat the 30 or 40 or $80 for a new bag of brass and call it a day.
Yeah.
I ruined some brass one time by putting some ammonia. No, not ammonia. 5% vinegar in the wet tumbler. Turned it pink.
Yeah, that's not good. That robs all the nickel right out of it, I think.
Man. luckily I didn't do much. I was experimenting.
I tend to only wet tumble brass. Of course, I'm only going to do it in big batches, so I'll wait till I have some. That's what I was telling the Scotsman. I'm like, next time I go shooting, I'll pick up the 2,000 pieces of brass that we left there because Noah decided to build an ark and it became a flood. I'll pick up all that, come back and tumble all from what I have and what we picked up, and I'll send him some more brass. So I'll do everything in big batches, but it's just about that much lemon shine, and about of Dawn, and I'm talking in the big Frankfurt Arsenal tumbler. Doesn't take much.
Yeah, I do.
Those are official measurements, by the way, in Georgia. And that goes with meters.
Oh, you want the metric?
I've literally got we've got that Dawn pump foam bullshit thing that my wife keeps by the sink, and I just 2 pumps of the Dawn or whatever, how much soap that equals, and then a pinch of lemon shine, and that's
if you're going metric, it's meow and splat.
Yeah, I don't think it's critical enough to matter as far as the amount of citric acid you're putting in it. You just want a little tiny bit in there, just a pinch.
Yeah, it's a tiny bit. It kind of is critical. You start getting palmfuls in there.
Oh yeah. What I'm saying is I don't think it's worth getting down and figuring out 1/332nd of an eighth of a teaspoon type of bullshit. Hell no. It's just a pinch. Yeah,
it's
just a pinch.
About how much salt you put in your biscuit batter.
Enough to make some good biscuits and gravy, right?
Absolutely. Right. All right, guys. Well, let's start rounding this one up here. We're starting to get a little long in the tooth. So, anybody got anything coming up they want to talk about, or anything they want to pitch or say thank you to, and then I'll come around and say thanks to the chat. And
I do want to say thank you to everybody out there. I saw we hit 25 at one point tonight, which would be a record for us. So thanks all you guys for showing up. That's pretty awesome. If you haven't checked out my my penetration testing video that went live on last Monday, I would check that out. There's a lot of good information in that as far as some of the stuff we've been talking about tonight. So that's worth checking out. So other than that, I appreciate everybody showing up as always.
Go ahead, Preacher.
Yeah, it was good to be back with you guys tonight, and everybody checking in. I hope everybody had fun. I did. I think the only thing I got coming up is I'm going to be trying out this 44 mag Lee 310 grain thumper load, but I want to do a penetration test on it as well. As soon as I get some phone books and water jugs and all that, nothing scientific, but it's a good load. It shoots good. I just like to see just what it'd go through.
Real quick before anybody else goes, Signal Soldier 31, if you've got a Lyman All-American 8 turret press, rather than us all as a group hitting you up, if you would put out a video doing an in-depth review of that thing on the Reloaders Network, I think it would be greatly appreciated, because there is a lot of us who are extremely interested in that press specifically. So if you got your hands on one and you can put a video out and throw it up, on Reloaders Network, that would be fabulous. Or come in here and link it next week, or however you do it. But there are a lot of people who
didn't Meg get one?
No, not that I'm. No, Meg got a printer, 3D printer thing. That's his new toy.
Somebody's got one. Can't remember who it is.
I know the Signal Soldier said he had one. I think it was last week.
Somebody's got one. Public service announcement.
Yeah, I mean, Signal Soldier, even if you literally just did a crappy video with your phone and you went over, thoughts on the press and things you like about it and things you don't, and then just uploaded it to YouTube, I think people would be interested in it. Really, honestly.
Next week is is our other week, and he says he could possibly jump on here. So, Single Soldier, if you want to jump on and be like kind of our guest next week, and we can kind of look at your press and shoot the breeze, I'd be fine with that if the other guys would.
Yeah, I'm that sounds great. Like I said, I didn't mean to interrupt everybody's sign offs, but I saw somebody had one of those All-American presses, and I know we've all been jonesing to get the scoop on it. So I would love the opportunity to pick that thing apart on live chat. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm gonna talk to him on chat while you guys go ahead and sign yourselves out.
Jamie, go ahead.
I've got, I'm currently, what's the word, editing 35 Remington Load 4. It should be out tonight or tomorrow morning. We tested it on the 4th of July. We had some fairly major mess ups. Nothing real bad, but yeah, I forgot to do some stuff for the video. Scotsman, don't be too mad at me, but yeah, we'll have 35 Remington Load 4 up soon. We'll be doing Load 5. I think it's going to be 4831. Load 6 will probably be Lever Revolution, and Load 7 will be H. Hodgson. Kenny will have to say it for me. Hodgson 4198. So after that, we'll start fine tuning some of these loads, and I want to do what Georgia Boy was talking about. I want to get me some milk jugs and see how many one of those 200 grain flat point bullets moving at about 2,050 feet per second will go through. Any guesses?
Say 4.5. So I say it gets into the 5th one.
I'll go 6. I was gonna go 6.5 to 7.
Well, how far are you shooting it from, Jamie?
I've been doing most of my testing at 25 yards. So I'll probably get 25 yards away from it. And
yeah, I'd say it goes into the 5th one. I think that big bullet's gonna mushroom out enough to slow it down that I don't think it'll get any further than that.
Well, that's another thing I want to see is how big it mushrooms, and I'm sure it's going to go all the way through a deer around here. Don't you think, Pastor?
Yeah, it's gonna plow through him. Hard cast bullet. Yeah.
Kyle, what do you got left?
All right, guys. As long as weather holds out, which I'm going anyway, and I will video the rain if it is, because it's been raining a lot here in Georgia. It's been raining a lot. I'm tired of pumping water out of the backyard. I'm taking the last half of next week off. Most people took the last half of this week off. My birthday happens to be next week, and I'm taking the last half of next week off. And I'm going down to the shooting property and going to spend a couple of hours with a chainsaw, weed eater, and all that, get everything cleaned up. And then I've got a crap ton of videos to make. All the ones I've been saying I'm going to make, but every time I go to head down there, it's pouring down rain, thunderstorm, and tornadoes and everything else. So why drive for 2 hours to sit in the rain? Because I can do that here. I've got that coming up. We're all packing up actual bullet trap 2.0 in use, which will be fun. It's already been in use, but this time it'll be in use on video. And I'll actually compare it to bullet trap 1.0. I'll show you one person trying to move it versus one person trying to move 2.0. And as long as you're a pretty good shot, I think you can do everything in 2.0. So got that coming up. Got the bacon challenge coming up, which is a 1/4-inch steel plate, 250 yards, sitting sideways. We got the beer can challenge coming up, putting the bullet through the O in a Coors 16-ounce can. We're going to do that. I'm going to do that rain or shine, Kenny. It's coming. And I'm going to have somebody else looking through it. I don't have a spot and scope with me, but I'll have somebody else looking through another scope with my iPhone right there, videoing the trace of it so you can see it. But we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to make videos, rain or shine, doesn't matter. I've got to easy up. I got a poncho, and hell, if I got a scope that can't stand up to the rain, I don't want the damn scope.
I saw somebody in chat was asking for my address to send me something. I didn't see who that was. Just throw me something on Slack or whatever. And
you need to send me your address too, so I can send you some 32. I think it's auto.
Yeah, I'll shoot it to you on Slack. But yeah, if anybody wants my address or anything, just hit me up on Slack. And as long as you know, I pretty much know who you are, I'll send it to you. I'm not really don't care that much. I mean, there's between 6 dogs in the arsenal that I've got. If you're coming here for bad intentions, I'm not too worried about my side of the equation.
That's where I'm at with it too. If you're going to come over here with bad intentions, you better bring a lot of help.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody coming out. I'm glad to have you on board again, Georgia boy. I always like it when you're here. It helps round out the chat, keeps me quiet, at least a little bit more quiet. Everybody, I appreciate it. So I saw 25. Right now, we're still at 24, so it's been pretty crazy. We've got Fuzzy Fork 8 came out, Uncle Jim, Signal Soldier, Insight Freedom came in.
I don't think I've seen Insight Freedom in here before.
Oh yeah, Scott's been in here before.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. The Crazy Scotsman's here. Oh boy.
I know Vanessa got here about halfway through.
Yep, Vanessa Kitty was in here. James Pollard came in to say hi for a little while. MCK was here. Don't know if we're still here. William C. Chapin, glad to see you, brother. And Loaded Cap Guns here. Thank you. Glad you're at home not doing work.
Preacher's day off, had to run, but he was here for the first half.
Yep, Daniel God is my judge. I don't know if I've seen him on our chat a couple different times, so that's glad. I'm glad to see somebody new coming in. Thomas Pickering was in for a little while. Eagle Eye Shooting, of course.
Mr. Daniel is a very good friend of the Scotsman, and they go shooting a lot together.
Who is this loads of bacon? Is that who's that guy?
He's
a pro. Watch him.
He's just that guy.
James Pollard, Loads of Bacon, of course, and everybody else that called before. Guys, look, I appreciate you guys coming out and watching the chat and giving us some good, or watching the video, watching the live stream, giving us some good info on chat. If you haven't gone to the Reloaders Network, please do so. All 4 of us are 5 of us are on the Reloaders Network. We're on Slack as well if you want to message us or talk a little bit more. I appreciate it. And I've got a little bit going on, but not much right now. I'm kind of finishing up some projects and getting into stuff. So I'm not going to bore you with what I've got going on. But I certainly appreciate everybody coming out. And we'll be same bat time, same bat channel next week. Looks like we're going to hopefully have a review on the Lyman All-American 8. And I'm really looking forward to that. But until then.
Me too.
I'll see you guys later.
Real quick before you cut us off, Nathan, just to throw it out there, if anybody's got anything they want us to talk about, by all means, shoot Nathan or one of us a message on Slack, and we'll talk about it. So
I appreciate, and Curtis, it did. It's dried quite well. It's still a little softer than I'd like, but that's under heavy weight, so it's drying and it's doing pretty well. Wah, wah. Anyway, another phrasing, great. Okay, so everybody say bye, and we'll call it a night.
Bye, everybody.
Appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you.
Thank you.